The number one killer is time. It destroys us all. This is what you need to know. Time broke. A growing fracture leading to the end of time. We went after a device that could fix it. Things turned ugly. Pulse Stream was there to stop us. He has superpowers.
Jack?
Him and me both. We failed.
Jack.
And of course, time travel was involved.
Jack.
Going too fast for you?
This is my experience on the Xbox One on hard. You may have a different experience depending on your difficulty and or actions in the game. Everything you say, do, or intel you pick up alters your experience. It's very important you understand this up front. The time is 4:30 a.m. and you, the protagonist, Jack, are on your way to meet an old buddy Paul at the local university. This is when this roller coaster ride starts. He tells you he's been working on this machine and needs your help with a demo. Paul, your buddy, goes on with the demonstration, only to meet with himself coming out of this chamber in the middle of the lab. This is when you realize it's a full working time machine. In order to not have a butterfly effect happen, Paul says that his past self needs to go into the machine and his future self stay in your time. Now this is when you really need to pay attention to the story because the brakes on this coaster just fell off. Remedy has this uncanny way of telling a story. Their stories are so good, if their games were books, you would need to keep reading to see what happens next. This is why you can't put this game down. The story is so fantastic, from the protagonist Jack, played by Sean Asmore, to the antagonist Paul, played by Aidan Gillen, aka Littlefinger. The voice acting is over-the-top phenomenal. Not only that, but the story includes this little mini-series in between acts, which is quite different. The actors in the mini-series do a great job in keeping you involved with the story. But honestly, the main game story is so on point that it could have done without it. The only gripe I really had with the mini-series is that they were so long. You don't want to sit there and watch a 30-minute portion of a series right after you lay the smackdown on some guys. At least I don't. I want to get back to the next act and keep going with the game. It's a good thing you can go back and watch it. I did on a few of them, and I recommend that others do as well. It's a great little mini-series that also alters based on your decisions in the game. The best way I can describe the gameplay is that you are Max Payne with force powers. The powers are so much fun to use. The way you can freeze time, dash, pop a shield, and use your sonar vision. You have to learn how to use these skills in certain situations. If you think you can cover shoot without using powers, guess again. The only way to survive is by using your powers. You also have to find these chronon sources, or as I like to call them, chronospheres, to level up your abilities. Each level has them scattered about, but the game is quite linear, so you don't have to go very far off the beaten path to find them. I recommend that you do, because you want to have your abilities beefed up, especially for the final conflict. Visually, the game is a hit or a miss. I understand that in just about every Remedy game they always go for this cinematic feel, but in some parts of the game there's this fuzziness that makes the game look shoddy. In some areas the color palette is just so dull and bland, while in other areas the colors are bright, jumping at you, or has that proper type of grime if it's in a dark and wet type of area. This is the same in both the cutscenes and in-game. In-game, the facial animations are so crisp and clean in some areas, only later to have this fuzz and film on it to make it look horrible. It's like the system had a problem pushing out what it needed graphically for those segments. You can see this clearly here in the video. Okay, the game mechanics. I just want to put this out there. As fun and as thrilling as this game is, the game mechanics are not exactly the greatest. Like, climbing over things is horrible. I spent countless times trying to climb up and vault over the easiest things like rails and small walls during fights to evade, but nope, it won't let you do it. You want to climb a box? Sure, if the devs want you to climb said box a particular way. If not, you act like you'll jump up only to tap the side and come back to the ground. This was the same for small walls, rails, etc. The only way to clear a small wall, if you have a landing area beyond, is to run and jump over. If you hit the top of the wall, you guessed it, you drop back on the ground. This was so frustrating. Jumping gaps was also a pain in the butt. Sometimes my torso would hit the ledge where in any other game the character would grab the rail. But nope, not Jack. You hit the ledge, then you fall. Also, for a shooter type of game, your cover system is on the rails. You cannot understand how frustrating this is. Not only that, but you can't sprint when you want to. This is also on the rails. When the game does let you run though, you have this light, frolicky jog. And this little jog that Jack does will begin to haunt you in the later levels. Because guess what? Your max run is this stupid frolicky jog. I mean, when shit hits the fan, you would think that there would be some sense of urgency to get into cover or get out of the way from getting shot. But nope. You have this light jog along with this auto cover system that makes the most basic fight seem so frustrating. Now, because of this on the rails type of system, when you're on the last level, it makes the boss seem like an unbeatable deity. But there is a way to beat him, and it's not luck based whatsoever. Just look at the light, that's all I'm gonna say. The combat basics are also frustrating. For some reason you can't hip fire, you have to ADS. You get a sniper rifle, but you can't look down the scope. You hit the left trigger only to have the cursor to barely zoom in. You also can't fire from cover. This would have been a great thing to have in the later levels, I tell ya. But no, you can't do that. Also, for some reason, there is no standard melee. You have to unlock melee as a power-up. Ugh, look, it just gets me so mad just to say that. This had me so angry because the AI can melee at will if I'm close to them, but I can't, so what the hell? Look, I can deal with not being able to shoot while in cover, sure. I can even deal with the fact that I can't hip fire, touche. But to not be able to do a simple melee unless I unlock the special, come on, man. Remedy, you remember a game called Max Payne 3 on 360? Yeah, you could melee in that game, but not in this quote-unquote next-gen game, or current-gen as we should all be calling it. In my own opinion, melee should be a standard in every type of shooter game like this, period. Microsoft has been holding this console exclusive close to the chest. It's been in hiding for a long time, showing these glimpses of greatness in demos. Do you get what's advertised? A time-bending thriller of a shooter? Yes. Do you get the mind-blowing visuals? Both yes and no. I would give the game a 7.5 overall. If I were simply giving a review score just based on story, I would easily give it a 9.5 or a 10. Easy. The story is so gripping you're going to want to keep playing to see how everything unfolds. I can also see folks give it at least 2 or maybe even 3 playthroughs, not just for the extra intel and items, but to see the alternate storylines. But unfortunately, I can't just score on the story. The powers and fighting sequences you have when you use them are awesome. It's the most fun you're gonna have. Setting up time warp bombs, slowing guys down to drop crates on their heads, putting up energy shields that absorb bullets only to turn it into a bomb at will. All of this is super fun. But it's the simple mechanics that are in just about every shooter aren't there. The hip fire, the cover fire. Something as simple as vaulting over a waist-high rail seems like an impossible task, unless you're in that stupid frolicking jog mode going towards it. And that's if the game lets you jog. It seems they want to hold your hand when really they need to take the training wheels off. There are also a ton of Easter eggs from Max Payne to Alan Wake, even some Office Space Easter eggs make it in. Yeah, I got my TPS reports, guy. Look, if you're a Remedy fan, you're gonna love this game, without a doubt. If you're on the fence and if you like games that have a grippy story with fantastic actors, this game is just for you. If you're looking for a hardcore shooter with all of the above elements, this is not the game you're looking for. Guys, that's my spiel. My name is Cujo, PTFO or GTFO. I'm out.